Hello, Petra here. Welcome back. Today I'm particularly happy to be here because I'm going to reveal an unbelievable truth that can really help you to transform your life. So take a slow deep breath, relax, and enjoy the video. The first thing to talk about is the illusion of weight and before, let me ask you a question. What if I told you that waiting is a biological error? Most of us spend our lives sitting in the waiting room of the future. We believe that there is a linear track we must walk, step by grueling step, to reach the version of ourselves that is successful, healed, or loved. We have been taught that time is a thief, a distance, a mountain to climb. But in the quantum field, distance is an illusion. Time doesn't pass, we pass through it. And if you know how to shift your internal architecture, you can stop walking toward your future and start collapsing it into your present moment. Today, we aren't just talking about manifestation, we are talking about the physics of the fold. I'm going to show you how to stop being a victim of the clock and start being the architect of the now. So, if you feel like your life is on pause, stay with me. We are about to press play on a reality you didn't think was allowed yet. But now, let's start. The first concept to understand is the one of linear trap. In fact, on the wall we are raised in the cult of tomorrow. From the time we are children, we are told study now so you can have a career later, save now so you can relax later, suffer now so you can be happy later. This creates a time gap. This gap is where anxiety lives. It's the space between where you are now and where you want to be. When you focus on that gap, you are actually vibrating at the frequency of separation. You are telling the universe, I'm not there yet. And because the universe is a mirror, it agrees with you. It keeps the destination over there perpetually out of reach. From the neuroscience point of view, the thought that time is out there is actually an artifact of your brain. Your brain, in fact, is a prediction machine and lives in a loop. Do you remember from my previous videos? Neurons that fire together wire together. So, if you spend every day thinking about what you don't have yet, you are wiring a neural net for luck. You have literally trained your brain to be an expert at not having it yet. When you say I'm working on it, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. It feels good, it feels like progress, but it's a trap. Your brain mistakes the intention for the action and it keeps you stuck in the cycle of preparing to start. You have become a professional preparer. You are biologically addicted to the stress of the struggle. You don't want a goal. You want the identity of someone who is striving for the goal. Because if you actually achieve it, who would you be? Without your struggle, you are a stranger to yourself. This is why you take the long way around. But now, let's try to see things from quantum physics point of view. Think of a piece of paper. Point A is on the left, point B is on the right. Usually, we think we have to draw a line across the paper to get from point A to point B. That is linear time. But what if you fold the paper? What if you bring point B directly on top of point A? The points touch. The distance becomes zero. This is quantum collapse. As I have said in my previous videos, in physics, a wave becomes a particle the moment it's observed. So, your future is currently a wave of possibility. It is everywhere and nowhere. It only becomes a particle a physical reality, when your attention and intention lock onto it with such intensity that the fold occurs. But even if sometimes you don't pay attention, you have already collapsed the time before. You just didn't have the language for it. Think of a time you were so deeply in flow, perhaps painting, coding, or talking to someone you love. You looked at the clock and 4 hours had vanished. In those 4 hours, you didn't experience time, you transcended it. You were no longer the limited self tied to a schedule, you were the fluid self. Contrast that with sitting in a dentist's waiting room for 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes feel like an eternity because your attention is fixed on the lack of the end result. To collapse time, you must move from waiting to being, and it's possible thanks to an identity shift. Let's make it simple. If you want to be a writer and you say, I'm working toward becoming a writer, you are maintaining the distance. You are keeping the writer version of you in the future. To collapse the time, you must write the first sentence as the writer who has already sold 1,000,000 books. You don't wait for the check to feel the success. You feel the success and the check is forced to materialize because the fold has happened. Your internal state must be more real than your external environment. But sometimes we fear to collapse. Let's see why. One of the reasons many of us don't collapse time is because we are afraid of the responsibility of the now. From a certain point of view, it's comfortable to be in process. It gives us an excuse for why we aren't happy yet. We say, oh, I'm just waiting for the right time. But there is no right time. There is only this time. Collapsing time requires the courage to let go of your story of struggle. It requires you to be okay with a miracle happening today. Are you ready to let go of the weight? Are you ready to admit that the only thing keeping you from your highest timeline is your insistence on taking the long way around? Let's say it in other words. The reason you cannot collapse time is that you are loyal to a ghost. You are loyal to the version of you that was hard, the version that was told not yet, the version that thinks things have to be hard to be earned. Collapsing time is an act of violence against your ego. To fold the paper over your reality, to bring point B, your dream, to point A, this moment, you have to be willing to murder the version of you that doesn't have it yet. You have to stop being the one who wants and start being the one who is. Most of you aren't ready for that. You are afraid of the silence of success. You are afraid that if you collapse the gap, you'll have no more excuses for why you aren't happy. You are using time as a shield to protect you from the terrifying reality of your own paper power. Now, if you want to collapse the next 5 years into the next 5 months, you must understand the observer effect. If you remember from my previous videos, in the quantum world, a particle doesn't exist in one place until it's observed. Until then, it is a wave of probability. Your future is a wave, but your observation, your attention, is currently fixed on the distance. You are observing the gap. Therefore, you are literally collapsing a reality of gap. To change this, we use a neurovisual overwriting. Let's make it practical right now. I want you to sit in total silence. Think of your biggest goal. Now imagine that it had happened 2 years ago. Not today, 2 years ago. Feel how the excitement has faded into normalcy. Feel the mundane weight of it. You aren't excited about the house you live in now, are you? You just live there. that is the frequency of the collapse. Excitement is the frequency of I can't believe this is happening. It's the frequency of a visitor. Normalcy is the frequency of an owner. Stop visualizing the climax of your dream. Start visualizing the Tuesday morning 2 years after your dream came true. When you can breathe that air, you have removed the resistance of awe. You have collapsed the time because you have made the impossible model. But I'm sure you are asking yourself, how can I fold the paper? Fortunately, there are some easy practices you can do. The first one is called the sensory anchor. When you wake up in the morning, before you touch your phone, pick one goal, just one. But don't visualize it from the outside like a movie. Step into the screen and try to feel it in as many details as you can. What does the air smell like in that future? How does your heart feel in your chest? Is it steady? Is it light? What is the very first thing you say to yourself when you wake up in that reality? When you feel that emotion, truly feel it, you have collapsed the time. You are no longer waiting for it. You have sampled the frequency. You have brought point B to point A. The second one, the language of the now. Audit your speech. Stop using the words I will, I hope, or one day. These are the languages of the linear trap. Switch to I am, it is, I am grateful that. Even if the physical world hasn't caught up yet, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a vivid imagination and reality. By changing your language, you are rewiring your brain to recognize the folded reality. The third one is the action of the finished. Do one thing today that the future you would do. If the future you is wealthy, buy one thing high quality thing instead of five cheap things. If the future you is healthy, walk with the posture of a person who is vibrant and strong. This is not fake it till you make it. This is quantum alignment. You are signaling to the field that the distance is closed. And now, for the next 24 hours, I challenge you to a radical experiment in quantum entanglement. You are to act, speak, and most importantly, decide from the perspective of the version of you that already achieved it all. If that version of you is wealthy, does he worry about the price of the coffee? If that version of you is healed, does she talk about her illness for 30 minutes to a friend? Every time you act like the old self, you are expanding time. You are adding miles to the road. Every time you act as the collapsed self, you are folding the paper. The neuroscience of this is simple. In this way, you are forcing your brain to create new neural pathways. You are literally pruning the old slow time neurons and wiring the high frequency ones. You are teaching your body emotionally what your future feels like before it happens. So remember, time is not a cage, it's a canvas, and you are the one holding the brush. At this point, if you feel a resonance in your soul right now, that strange electric shiver that tells you this is true, then the fold has already begun for you. You didn't find this video by accident. Your future self pulled you here to remind you that the wait is over. You have reached the end of this video. And for most people, this will just be another interesting idea they think about for 10 minutes before returning to their linear trap. But you don't be most people. So I want you to go to the comments right now and write one sentence about your future, but using the present tense. So don't say I will be free, but I am free. Anchor it here. Let this comment section be a vortex of collapsed time. If you want to dive deeper into the mechanics of quantum soul, make sure you have watched my previous videos on the fluid self and quantum entanglement. They are the building blocks of what we discussed today. But now, subscribe and join us as we continue to dismantle the illusions that keep us small. It's not simply motivation here, but transformation. Now the paper is folded. So stop waiting, start being. I'll see you in the now.